Am I wrong for not allowing my adopted son to choose the movie on family movie night? I, 45 male, have 4 sons, 3 biological and 1 adopted, 13 male. We adopted Jake when he was 3 years old. He came from a really difficult background, and we've always tried to give him as much love and support as possible. But if I'm being honest, it hasn't been easy. Jake has always been more of a challenge compared to my other boys. He's extremely sensitive and gets upset over the smallest things. Due to the trauma he experienced early on, Jake is mentally and emotionally more like an 8 or 9-year-old, even though he's 13. This isn't because of any special needs, it's just the result of what he's been through. When he was younger, he struggled a lot in school, to the point where he was eventually expelled from his primary school for behavioural issues. It was a really tough time for our family. We ended up enrolling him in an SEMH, Social, Emotional and Mental Health School, which costs around £70,000 per year. While the school has helped him somewhat, Jake still causes a lot of problems. The school often calls us because Jake's had a meltdown or couldn't handle something, and it's clear he needs a lot more attention than our other kids. At home, Jake's neediness can be overwhelming. He's constantly seeking reassurance and gets upset if things don't go exactly his way. My wife has always been very patient with him, maybe too patient in my opinion. She tends to cater to his needs a lot more than the other boys, and I can see that it's starting to wear on them. I can tell they're starting to feel like Jake gets special treatment. Earlier today, during our usual Saturday family movie night, this issue came to a head. We always vote on the movie to keep things fair. The older boys and I wanted to watch the first Avengers movie, and when we voted, Jake was the only one who wanted to watch Spider-Verse instead. Jake loves Spider-Verse, and we've watched it several times before. Seeing how upset Jake was getting, my wife suggested that we just watch Spider-Verse to avoid a meltdown. She felt that it wasn't worth the fight and wanted to keep the peace, especially considering how sensitive Jake is. But I felt like it wasn't fair to the other boys who had won the vote fairly. I said no, we are sticking to the movie that won the votes, and Jake predictably got really upset, stormed off to his room, and refused to come back downstairs. After the movie, my wife and I had a huge argument. She said I was being too harsh, and that I don't understand how difficult things are for Jake because of his past. She thinks that I should have just let him have his way to avoid the conflict, but I'm tired of always walking on eggshells and constantly giving in to Jake at the expense of the other boys. I don't think it's right to let Jake dictate everything just because he is more sensitive. Am I the asshole for not letting my adopted son choose the movie on family movie night, even though it upset him and led to a huge argument with my wife? In the comments, Old Beach says, "Not the asshole. It's okay to give in, but if you always give in, then Jake learns nothing, and your other 3 boys will feel neglected. Jake cannot always have his way. And at a mental age of 8 or 9, he needs to learn that and find coping skills to help manage his emotions. Your wife will do him no favors by always giving in, since eventually he'll be an adult and no one except her will treat him that way." Horror Ad says, "You can't let Jake make all the decisions in the house. On the other hand, a vote seems fair, but it really isn't. If there's a majority whose tastes are in sync, they win the vote every time. A better system would be to rotate who gets to pick the movie. That makes the decision predictable, and no one thinks that they are being picked on for being different. Suggestion: kill the vote and rotate through each kid to pick the movie. Parents must be in agreement to veto the movie, i.e., if one agrees and the other disagrees, movie stays as is. If both parents agree that the movie is not appropriate for that night, kid gets to pick a different movie." Callie the Blaze says, "I know you've got him enrolled in the fancy private school, but are you guys working with a family therapist? Because if not, it sounds like you really need one. You've got to figure out a way to support Jake while helping him learn to tolerate frustration and not getting his way. If he doesn't learn that, he's going to have a terribly lonely and limited life. It sounds like you aren't working with a therapist yet, which means that between you and your wife, everyone sucks here. All of your kids need support, and Jake needs structure and balance, not coddling." And OP says, "It really isn't a fancy independent school. It's honestly just like a normal school, but they have a ratio of like 3 teachers per child or something crazy like that. I mean, it is a bit more than a normal state school, but it isn't like a huge, fancy place. He has therapy throughout CAMHS and is on the waiting list for specialized therapy to support adoptive children, but we can't afford family therapy. That would be great, but that's not something we'd be able to do. We can barely afford rent. Imontes says, Info. Is Jake often outvoted? Do you ever take turns to ensure everyone gets to choose? Or each month someone puts in a movie choice into a hat and then one picks out each week until all have been watched? OP replies, I wouldn't say he's often outvoted. Like I said in the post, he has chosen for us to watch Spider-Verse many times in the past, and we have all watched it together. I would say that it's usually pretty equal at the movie nights, and usually no one is completely upset, as they all have pretty similar taste in films, even if something wasn't their first choice. I guess with all of that cleared up, you're not wrong for not allowing him to choose, but yeah, as these people say, a new system is needed to be put in place so that he doesn't lose his shit and make everyone else in the family suffer from glass child syndrome. Because this seems like a case where it is very much manageable and the child does not have to inflict glass child syndrome on anyone else. To me, it looks like it comes down to effective parenting techniques and managing his condition. And if you're not able to manage his condition, everyone's going to suffer, so please get on top of it and report back with what you've done, please. I'd like to know. And now, on to the updates. So after reading through your comments and taking some time to reflect, I came to realize that I've been too harsh on Jake. Not just regarding the movie night incident, but in general. Jake has had a difficult journey since he joined our family, but that's not his fault. When we chose to adopt him, we committed to supporting him through every challenge. He didn't choose his trauma, and he certainly didn't choose to end up in a family where he might feel different from his siblings. That responsibility lies with us. We've made a few changes, starting with family movie nights. Instead of voting, which often left Jake feeling excluded, we switched to a rotation where each person takes a turn picking the movie. This simple change has removed a lot of the tension and has made movie night feel more inclusive for everyone. I honestly can't believe I didn't think of it sooner. Thank you to everyone who suggested it. In hindsight, I realize my original post felt more like a venting session, and I regret the way that I spoke about Jake. I needed to get those feelings out, but now I understand that it wasn't fair to talk about him in that way, even anonymously. And since then, I've started journaling to work through my emotions privately and with a clearer head. I'm really grateful for the wake-up call that your comments provided. One point raised repeatedly in the comments was the glass child concept, the idea that our other boys might feel overlooked because of Jake's needs. That really hit home for me. To address this, we've started a new Sunday tradition. Each Sunday, I take one of our boys out for a full day, just the two of us, doing something that he chooses. It's been great for all of us and has given me precious one-on-one time with each of my sons. My relationship with them feels stronger, and it's something that I look forward to every week. Jake and I also had a long heart-to-heart after my original post. He opened up about feeling like his opinions and wants don't matter, and that he sometimes believes that I love my other boys more. Hearing that broke my heart, and I took responsibility for my role in making him feel this way. His early trauma definitely impacts his sense of security, but I can't ignore that my own behavior contributed as well. I'm committed to showing him that he's just as valued and loved as his brothers. Finally, some people asked about therapy. Jake's been on the waiting list for a more specialized therapist for a while now, well before I made the original post. In the meantime, he does receive some therapy through his school and general therapy through CAMHS, which helps, but we know that he'll benefit much more once he has a consistent access to a trauma-informed therapist. We're hopeful that this will come through soon. Thanks again to everyone who shared insights and advice. These changes have made huge differences in our family's dynamics, and I feel closer to all of my sons. I'm working every day to be a better parent to Jake and a more balanced dad for all of our kids. Crafty Special says, even if you were a bit harsh with Jake, your wife was showing favoritism with Jake, and that should be fixed as well. Hopefully Jake won't have to wait much longer for a specialized therapist. I'm sure once he starts seeing one, it'll help him so much. Beige Almighty says, "You were being too harsh on Jake, but you're correcting it now. Now that Jake has been able to articulate his fears, you can teach him the control that he has over his own fear. Now that you have admitted your mistake, you can teach him how to correct a mistake. Together, the experience can help Jake build more trust in his place in the family. I wish all of you well as you find your way together." Yeah, does seem like something needs to change with your wife as well. These are very good first steps, but if she isn't going to change her favoritism or be aware of it, that is going to cause problems in the family. Thank you for sharing your story with us, OP. I very much appreciate that, and I'd love to know what you guys think of this one down in the comments. Let me know. Our next post is by user Temporary Lie 3460, and it's titled, "Am I the asshole for walking out on a blind date my friend set up 2 weeks after my husband died? I just really need some clarity on this situation. I, 23 female, lost my husband, 25 male, weeks ago to a car accident. He was the love of my life, and I'm still not used to waking up without him every day. We have big plans for our future, and it all came crashing down in a heartbeat. We met on his uncle's farm, as he was a farmhand, and it was a love at first sight for me. I'm also 4 months pregnant, but I haven't told anyone. I was planning on telling my friend when I was feeling better. My best friend Lee, 24 female, has been my shoulder to cry on during this time. She helped me with his funeral and anything else I needed, as I'm no contact with my bio family, which is a story for another time. She is currently dating Barry, 24 male. They usually hang out in a trio with Liam, 24 male. When I first met Liam, he hit on me hard, trying everything. As in, would try and compare himself with my husband, say weird things like our kids would be cuter than if you had kids with my husband, etc. He's also made weird comments like, I need a city boy, and would motion himself, when I'm a country girl through and through. I typically would shut him down or ignore him, but I would always get dirty looks from Barry. So the natural thing is that you guys would be compatible? Like, what's going on here? Why is Barry shooting you dirty looks? Like, what is this apologia of his mate Liam's behavior? What is going on? Skip to Sunday nights. I got a message from Lee begging me to come to dinner with her because she wanted to treat me, as I had been through a lot in the last couple of weeks. Feeling not so shit about myself, I decided to go. When I arrived, she wasn't there, so I texted her asking how long she would be, and she told me 5 minutes. She's just running late and is around the corner, so I sat down and ordered a drink. And now 5 minutes comes, and she's still not there, so I gave her the benefit of the doubt and waited another 5 minutes, and when I'm about to call her, Liam comes rushing over and gives his apologies for being late. I asked him what he's doing here because I'm waiting for Lee, and it was a 2-chair table. He smiles at me and grabs my hand. I ripped it off him and he just says, "Oh, I asked Lee to set us up now that your husband isn't a problem." Oh, what the fuck? What in God's name? We can finally get to know each other. He looked so cringy, and I'm telling you, I was floored. I stood up and told him that I wasn't interested, and I certainly don't give a flying fuck about getting to know him, and that I just lost my husband. Imagine saying that to a newly widowed person that you want a relationship with. I'm genuinely shocked. Without a word of a lie, this man stands up and said, "I know you're being overly emotional right now, so I'll forgive you for that, so sit down with me. I'm not saying we have to have sex straight away or anything." I was disgusted. I shoved past him and went home as fast as I could. And when I did get home, Lee messaged me, "So, how was dinner?" with a smirk emoji. And I called her, and when she answered, I didn't let her get a word in. I yelled at her and asked her how she has the audacity to do something like this weeks after I just lost my husband, when she's been the one to hold me together this whole time. I asked her what effing game she was playing, and that the only reason I wanted to meet tonight with her was to tell her I'm pregnant. I just hung up on her and texted her that I need time, and I don't want to be contacted by her for the time being. Last night, Barry came to my house and asked to talk. I said no, and that if he didn't leave, I'd call the cops. He told me that I broke Lee's heart and that I deeply hurt Liam, when now is an even better time to get to know Liam because he could raise my child with me. I opened my door, which Barry took as I wanted to talk, and instead I hit him with my shoes and chased him to his car screaming. I'm actually embarrassed I did that. Don't be embarrassed. He deserved that. He deserved more than that too. All today, I'm being flooded with messages from friends and the trio themselves shaming me for pushing the people who care about me the most away, and that they don't even recognize the person I've become. The only thing that hurts me most is that my husband would know what to do. He would tell me how to fix it, and now I have no one who I can talk to. I'm just so numb inside. I have a therapy appointment tomorrow, but I'm thinking of calling my husband's mum, even though we've barely spoken since the funeral. Any advice is appreciated. Please excuse any typos. I'm just so exhausted. If I were in your shoes says, not the asshole 1,000 times. This is way too soon for any of that. Sorry, I know women and it's been years and they are still not dating. And I am so sorry for your loss. You need time to grieve. Take the time that you need. There is no timeline for it. Take care of yourself and your child. Ty Nervous 9815 says, what the holy hell? Throw that entire friend group in the garbage. No respect for your feelings, no respect for your boundaries, no respect for your loss. Not the asshole. I'm sorry for your loss. The Pterodactyl Ghost says, deception, disgrace, evil as plain as the lust on his face. Not even just dumping the whole friend group, but I would go as far as shaming them on social media. Bring the receipts out, bring as much evidence to the forefront as you can, and just completely air these people and the terrible behavior that they have subjected you to post your husband's death. Like, they deserve it. They deserve to be dragged online for this. And this is not even like petty drama. This is very genuine, serious drama. I'm sure everyone would understand where you're coming from, and hopefully not take their side. Hopefully shame them the way these people deserve to be shamed. Absolutely not the asshole. And now onto the updates. Hello and thank you. I just wanted to start off with, I called my mother-in-law Louise. After making the post, I thought that I needed to tell her about the baby because, just like some of you said, she is overjoyed about the news. She didn't answer my call, but instead drove straight over to my house. I honestly didn't know what to say to her, but we just hugged and cried all night. I didn't have the best delivery about how I'm pregnant, probably due to all the crying, but she just lit up and was so happy. It's the first time I've seen her this happy in all the time I've known her, so at least I have some support. My father-in-law came over when he finished work after mother-in-law told him that he needed to come to my house, and he was too overjoyed about becoming a pop. Louise offered to have the baby and I move in, and I agreed. She said that I can sleep in my husband's old room, which was a little bittersweet. When I told her what was going on with Lee, Liam, and Barry, she was furious and told me not to worry about it because they have my back, and after a lot of even more crying, father-in-law told me that my husband would be so happy to have this baby grow up in a farm like my husband did, and overall, our conversations last night were something I needed. Now, I'm just going to answer some comments. 1. No, this isn't fake, and if you choose to believe that, then that's fine, but don't be dragging my husband when you don't even know him. Liam didn't kill my husband, it was a car accident, and my husband died on impact. Nothing crazy went on. It's just awful, but is as simple as that. 2. Lee was my friend for a long time. She was genuinely there for me when I went no contact with my parents, and I thought she was a decent friend. Now knowing the truth, there are many things that I can think of that she did that are red flags. Personally, I think I ignored them because I've never been close to anyone like that other than my husband. 3. Liam is a loser. And from my chat with Barry, I learned that he's always had feelings for me, and he's never given up because apparently he's my type. He isn't and never will be. 4. Yes, I ordered a drink. I didn't think I needed to disclose that I ordered a lemonade. It was simply a soda, nothing wild. I know I'm pregnant, and I'd never do anything silly. And 5, I'm not magically pregnant. My husband and I both wanted children young and were trying for about a year. We just didn't disclose that we were trying because my husband and I think that it's weird telling people, oh, we're having sex in extra amounts. I don't know, but my husband and I are very private people and kept a lot of it that way. And as for the trio, I've blocked them. None of my family are reaching out because they simply don't know me anymore. The only friends who are reaching out are mutuals of either Lee, Barry, and one of Liam's other friends. I was confused on if I was an asshole because I just left Liam standing there and yelled at Lee. I was so upset. I was confused about the entire thing. But thank you all, and I will update on what happens because I know Liam will not give up until he is in jail. I seriously hope he doesn't come to that, but the fact that he drove past my house twice is uneasy. So I'm hopeful the move to my husband's parents' farm will have my baby and myself on a better path. Decent Bandicoot says, "First, I am so sorry for the loss of your husband. So glad mother-in-law and father-in-law came through for you. Keep the menagerie of freaks blocked, and good luck." K.A. Irony says, "I still can't believe your family and friends think anyone setting up a person who was just widowed on a blind date without that person's permission is okay. Is your family deranged? Your friend in that trio are certainly deranged. I'm glad that you have your late husband's family to support you. Work out with your therapist how you ended up with so many truly crazy, boundary-stomping people in your life. Once you untangle that, I'm sure that you'll be in a better place. Good luck." Honestly, onwards and upwards, OP. It's unfortunate to have to cut so many people off so soon that were friends once, but just look at how fast the turntables. Oh my god. You do not need that energy in your life. They were just going to continue to emotionally manipulate and abuse you until they trapped you in a relationship with this Liam guy. You do not need to be stuck around evil people like that. Please find better friends. Please do not repeat that same mistake of falling into the trap of people like that. Regardless, thank you for sharing your story with us. I very much appreciate it. And I hope you do come back and inform us what's going on in your life after all of this. Anyway, what do you guys think? I'd love to know down in the comments down below. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.